Welcome to Martial Media Review. I'm Stephen Reich, and today we will be discussing When Tae Kwon Do Strikes, also known as Sting of the Dragon Masters, and Tae Kwon Do Heroes. When Tae Kwon Do Strikes is a movie that came out in 1973, was directed by Feng Huang, and stars Jhoon Rhee, Angela Mao, and Carter Wong. The movie begins in Seoul during the Japanese occupation of Korea. A Korean nationalist named Jin Zhang-zi gets into a fight with some Japanese locals and is pursued into a church. The priest at the church hides Jin and does his best to cover for him as the Japanese go searching around. They don't find Jin, but instead find the leader of the Korean rebels, Lee Chang-tung. The Japanese start beating him, but Lee doesn't fight back. Instead, the priest's niece, Mary, steps in, who has been trained in Taekwondo by Lee, as well as Jin, who comes out of hiding, and the two fight off the Japanese. But it's not long before more Japanese come, and Lee fights them single-handedly while Jin and Mary escape out of the back of the church. Lee then escapes himself just before even more Japanese come, but this time they capture the priest and torture him. Lee seeks out the help of his Chinese friend, Wan Ling-ching, who has become an ally to the rebels, and asks her to lead them to China while he tries to rescue the priest. But Lee himself ends up getting captured, and now Jin, Wan, and Mary must go to the Japanese headquarters to save him. The first time I saw this movie was while I was still studying Taekwondo. I mean, after all, it stars Jhoon Rhee, the father of American Taekwondo, and I had Jhoon Rhee brand sparring pads in my training bag. With the exception of maybe Best of the Best, how many Taekwondo-based martial art movies are there anyway? But I have to say, if you are looking for a movie that showcases Taekwondo exclusively, you may be a bit disappointed with this one. However, if you can get past that, When Tae Kwon Do Strikes is really a great kung fu flick. The cast is stellar, the fights are awesome, with our heroes usually taking on numerous bad guys at once, and the direction is very good, distinguishing itself from most of the Shaw Brothers productions of that time. There is some pretty heavy-handed religious subtext in this movie, particularly with the priest played by Andre E. Morgan and Lee Chang-tung played by Jhoon Rhee. They both express how far one is willing to sacrifice themselves for what they believe while being chained to a crucifix and tortured by the Japanese. Just like 1972's Hapkido, this movie features Angela Mao, Carter Wong, Sammo Hung, Hwang In-sik, and director Feng Huang. These guys work great together. It was awesome to see Sammo Hung as a villain for a change, as he did his best to be evil. Hwang In-sik also plays a bad guy. For me, it's a nice warm-up for one of my favorite roles of his in 1980's The Young Master. Carter Wong's character was a bit one-note, but he gets the story moving along and is great in his fight scenes. The Japanese leader, played by Kenji Kazama, was also worth noting, who does some fantastic fighting against Jhoon Rhee in the finale. But the standout of this movie is definitely Angela Mao, who plays Wan Ling-ching. She is fantastic in this film, essentially outperforming everyone in every way. And it doesn't hurt that she is absolutely gorgeous to boot. My only issue is that she is a Hapkido-based martial artist who outshines all of the Taekwondo fighters, even Jhoon Rhee. Speaking of Jhoon Rhee, this was his one and only film. He does a respectable job acting, delivering some pretty drawn-out dialogue. But his fights are all very good, especially in the finale. I just wish there were more fights with him to showcase more Taekwondo. Other than Jhoon Rhee, the only one who demonstrated pure Taekwondo in the movie was the priest's niece Mary, played by Anne Winton. While her techniques were very clean, her acting was terrible, and shows hardly any emotion throughout the film. Another thing that bothered me in this film was that they kept using the same sets over and over again, but depicting them as different places. This might have worked better if they shot the sets from different angles or something, but they use the same angles each time, which makes it hard to accept that we are supposed to be somewhere else. For example, the restaurant in Seoul looks exactly like the restaurant in China. Very confusing. Aside from that, I really enjoyed this movie and recommend you check it out, especially if you are a fan of Jhoon Rhee and Angela Mao. I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So, have you seen When Tae Kwon Do Strikes? If you have, what did you think of it? Be sure to let me know in the comments. And as always, if you know of a movie, book, TV show, documentary, what have you that you'd like me to discuss on the show, be sure to let me know that in the comments as well. You can find me at Likewater Productions on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.